I hope that my voice is coming loud and clear now. Okay, perfect. Great. So let's start again. Sorry, I was not being able to hear by the listeners. So I'm repeating again. So welcome to Ask Aslam, and let's begin this show with some very interesting informations and news. I've got the first news, not so interesting in terms of welcoming, in terms of students who are looking to study in US. So in recent weeks, US government has revoked the visas or the legal status of over 1,000 international students. That sparked the widespread concern and legal challenges. These actions have affected students across more than 160 colleges and universities. That includes the prestigious institutions like students from Harvard, Stanford, Ohio State University, and many other. Well, there are different reasons why the government is saying that they have revoked the legal status of the students from these universities, citing the traffic violations or lack the clear justification in certain cases, which has led to the students' risk of detention and deportation. However, some people are also saying that the government is selectively targeting the universities and students who were very pro-Palestine. During the conflict of the Israel and Palestine, they were very pro-Palestine. The administration was supporting the students' voices who were raising to in support of Palestine and boycotting the Israel and their products. And some people are saying that maybe that's a reason why the government is very being selective of pushing those universities and students from getting away from those kind of protests. Well, the meantime, the American Civil Liberties Union, which we call ACLU, and the other legal groups have filed lawsuit alleging that the Department of Homeland Security violated the basic student rights, and they do not have a power to deport or detain the students on these reasons. And hence, the result of this, the mounting legal pressure has resulted the Trump administration to announce a temporary reversal of this termination. So there is no risk as such for the students, but yes, the sword is hanging on their neck, and this could be the challenging situation for these identified students and their universities. Well, despite this reversal, and uncertainties remain same, and we are already seeing that there are lots of Indian students who are shying away of getting into US universities as a very obvious reason why, and they do not want to look at this as a study abroad destination anymore. Many states have reportedly seen the sharp decline in the number of students showing interest in selecting the US universities for their higher education. Naturally, the benefit has been taken over by the European countries, and especially like countries like Germany, France, Ireland. Smaller countries like Switzerland, Hungary are showing the attraction of international students looking as a second option or third option destinations. The other news has also come from Canada. So, according to the recent survey, the Canada remains still amid the government rift, which has happened a couple of months ago. Canada still remains a top choice for the international students, with 94% of respondents favoring Canada as a top higher education destination. Despite diplomatic tension, we know that we had between India and Canada from an Indian point of view, and introduction of stricter visa policies. Canada has appealed that the high quality of education, affordability, and post-study work opportunities are still their priorities to offer to their students. And then with this, they've also introduced, especially that Indian students constituted. We know that the 41% of the study permits which has been issued in 2022. However, because of that government tension in 2023, it led to an 86% drop, which is a sharp drop as compared to the previous year in the fourth quarter of the 2023. Which led the numbers to decrease to 108,000 approximately, which was reported. And in 2024, again, we have approximately saw the reduction of 35% to the total visa which has been allocated. Apart from this, the financial requirement for international students has doubled. So the Canada is making it little difficult for the students to make it to Canada. And earlier, the Canadian dollar 10,000 were enough to show your expenses for your living, but now it has been made to $20,635, which is really double, and it comes as a pressure for the middle class family, of course, when they are preparing for the visa norms. Again, because of US and because of Canada's this issue, the challenges has been put forward in front of the Indian students, specifically when they're looking for a study abroad option. And hence, the countries like New Zealand, Australia, UK, Ireland, Germany, France are showing a tremendous growth. International Indian students community, they want to have an international exposure, and if any country is showing not so positive sign to invite them, then well, students are still want to go abroad, but now they are changing the preferences based on the countries who are seems to be more welcoming with their immigration and policies. With this small introduction, let's take today's question. I have a few questions and I would like to take one by one. We'll see that how much time we have, and we'll try to cover up these questions as we go further. So the first question comes that the OPT cancellation bill has been proposed by Trump administration, and how is it worthwhile to go now to study in US if we will not be able to get a stay back option, and hence no ROI? Well, as mentioned in the first news, yes, it has been proposed, it's not been accepted, and a lot of legal suits also came in against of that proposal of the bill. And we know that Trump's style, it's always been in the first term also, he showed a lot of aggression with his policies, not only for the businesses but also towards the education and other sectors. Well, amid this, what we have seen in the last administration time, that he did this in the first year, and then second and third year were relatively quieter as compared to the first year, because he has got the tendency of showcasing his aggression, because this is how he's been known as a leader in the country, and he is famous to creating the disrupt. Now what he has done with the tariffs across the different countries, going 200% plus tariff imports on countries like China. Of course, we see that it's a madness, and in the open economy and the open country economic global economy we have, going through these processes looks unimaginable. But this is how he's famous for. What he actually does is that he proposed, then he put a temporary relaxation, he proposed a tariff, then he come for backward, and he said, okay, we are going to have a cool off period. So this is what his style has always been. In as like any other economy, the US economy cannot survive without international immigrants contribution. It cannot survive without having the imports of the different countries on which US is heavily dependent. Knowing this fact, still he tries to do this in order to also upkeep his political stature. So I believe that you should not get too much carried away with his statements, which are most of the time, you know, that his what his mom said about him. If he gets into politics, so the God save the politics. So so we know his nature, and that's the reason why I believe that one, he is overexposed by the media as well, and media also, we know in today's date, exaggerate the statements, and hence we suggest to the students to look at the logical statements in between, in between the lines. Yes, it may seem that it is that risky to go to US. Getting appointment is not an easy at the moment. However, US is not the end of the world. US is not the only country in the world where you can get or are guaranteed of a quality of education. Country like Malaysia, Dubai, UK, Ireland, France, Germany, Hungary. You have got a lot many countries who equally are now getting stronger in terms of high quality of education, and hence I would equally suggest the students to look at the other countries, considering the challenges which has been put forward by USA. However, if you are really determined to go to US for XYZ reason, because we still have a students coming to us because they have got some family connects, they have got somebody living in there, they know the US, they've been there on a visitor visa, and they like, they have got a personal preferences. Consider this a temporary challenge, and you can still go ahead with the US option without much of difficulty. Number two, the question is the UK job market is in crisis mode. What courses can the student go for in the UK which has high job prospects? Well, I would always suggest that always look for the program which meets the 3C model. Selecting the right course in the right country in the right college is the always a successful mantra for you to succeed in any of the country. As we see that UK is in the job crisis, it's not only UK. In India, we just had the report that 33% of our graduates are only employable. The remaining are still struggling in India to get the job. So we have got a worse situation as compared to many other countries. Then Germany also has got some difficulties in certain areas. However, if you choose the right course which is in line with your personality, interest and aptitude, I guarantee you that you can thrive in any country. Then what happens in this difficult time when the economy is going through turbulence or any challenges, the people who have got the cutting edge knowledge and people who have got the high skills, they are not mediocre in that particular field, but they are actually having the in-depth knowledge and high skills in that particular field. No matter which country you are in, you would be able to succeed in the end. Considering this fact, still to come to the point, UK has got always a high requirement for the students who are looking for financial careers related to health and science, career related to engineering, especially aeronautical engineering, automobile. You have got renewable energy. These are some of the programs which are very much high in demand. Their management programs, especially related to psychology, sports management, are also in high demand. So you can look into these courses when you're looking for UK. Next question comes: Dublin, Ireland is facing a housing crisis. How can we manage the cost? Well, the entire Europe was having the housing crisis, especially last 2 years. Because of Canada and US, what's happening in that country, many students, as I mentioned earlier, have started looking at Germany, France, UK, Ireland as an option to study. And that even the country like Sweden had, overwhelming response in terms of application coming into that country. And they were not prepared. The housing was not prepared. Not only these small countries, even the country like Australia had the housing crisis. They had their real estate prices shot up in last 3 years considerably. As a result of that, the real estate purchasing rate as well as the rental rates have gone skyrocket high, and hence they had to put a cap onto the international students number. So it's always related to some factors. It's not that the government doesn't want international students. They also want to protect their real estate pricing, their economy, their local people. There are lots of reasons why they always government put forward their interest first, understandably. However, as on date, you if you apply to the universities well before time and you apply for the accommodation whilst you're still waiting for your visa, you can assure yourself accommodation. You can contact us and we will help you with our offices across India to find the suitable accommodation. Also, you can also get the help from our alumni who are already there in Ireland, and we can help you connecting with them and finding the suitable accommodation. Up till now, even in this crisis, none of our single students has ever faced accommodation issue. Yes, there would be some delays in finding the relevant accommodation at your price, but surely before you go you will find the one. Next is, can we get job in non-speaking English speaking European country if we don't know the native language? Well, I'll give you the example. Like, if you're going to a country like Germany, France, Switzerland, whereby the native language or the first language is not English, you can easily complete your education because most of the universities and colleges are offering the courses in English language. But when you are looking for a job, it is an added advantage if you have a workable knowledge of a local language. You're not supposed to be expert or you're not supposed to be grammatically perfect, but you should at least have a years for a language that when you hear, you can try to understand that what that person is asking you and develop this language when you're going into non-English speaking country. I think that rule would be applicable even to the international students if they want to come to India, right? So, and in fact, when we are traveling to some other states, suppose if I have to go and stay in Tamil Nadu for my next 2 years, I would better learn the Tamil, or as a matter of fact, to Kerala, to better learn the local language, because most of the people would find it comfortable to speak in their local language. That's what we face as an Indian if we cross the state and go to another state. So imagine if you're going to a non-English speaking country, why would not you put an effort to learn the language? It's not required academically, but yes, you got to have a basic knowledge. At least you can speak somebody, you can greet someone, you can ask the basic question, and you can respond in a basic way to their question. And that is the best way you can not only get connected with the locals, but also what the question you ask for, you can get a better chances to be absorbed immediately, as compared to the people who really have no clue how their language sounds like and how people speak in that local language. So yes, uh, building the knowledge for the language is essential. Not necessarily you know German now, but you, what you do is, I always advise the students that if you're going to a non-English speaking country, whilst you're completing your other formalities, you enroll yourself for the basic German, taking Germany as a language option, and then do at least A1 level of German language course that will at least show you the alphabets, the numbers, and then the basic structure of the sentence framing. And then once you are there, though you will be learning in the English language in your classroom, but try to improvise your language, try to speak to the local. Even when we learn the languages in our childhood, we didn't join any class to learn our mother tongue, right? We have started speaking mother tongue, but just listening and speaking. So that's how easy it could be for you to learn any language. So that's what you got to do it if you really are serious about getting a career also in that country. Next question is it true that IT job market is only good in Ireland, Germany, and few European countries? It's not completely true, but yes, these countries have got high demand for the IT professionals, and we have seen this for last over 8 years. All of our students who have gone to these countries majorly for the courses which are in demand, including the one like IT, which has been asked in this question, you would be having higher chances to be absorbed into the job market. Ireland, the reason is the majority of the IT companies in the world has got the headquarters situated in Dublin, which is the capital of Ireland for the entire European continent. Similarly, all the pharmaceutical companies, top 7 out of 10 pharmaceutical companies have got the headquarters in Ireland. Germany has developed its expertise in the IT sector for last many years. And not only the European countries, let me give you the example. You go to Malaysia. Malaysia has also got some of the best universities in the technology and IT front. They may rank among top 500 and 600 in the world, wherein the fees would be anywhere between 3 to 3.5 or 4 lakhs rupees, which is much affordable as compared to going to Europe. And it offers excellent job opportunities for the IT graduates or the people who are seeking an IT career. So yes, Ireland, Germany, and the countries like Malaysia, even Dubai, Hungary, they would have a lot of career opportunities related to IT, and then you must look for. Having said that, it's not that you cannot get a job after doing your IT in UK, but what I'm saying is that comparatively the competition is lesser in these countries. I hope that answers your question. Next question is, what are the best courses to study in Singapore and Malaysia? What are the chances to get job, as we don't have attractive stay back option here? Well, I've got one good news, just to break this question into two parts. So yes, if you go to Singapore, Singapore doesn't offer any stay back option. That's true. So whilst you're studying, you need to find the suitable job for yourself with the help of the college or by your own means, so that you do not have a risk of returning back to India without a job. But that remains a risk if you go to Singapore. That's a fact. However, when you choose to go to Malaysia, Malaysia has recently announced 1 year stayback option for the Indian students. Yes, you heard it right. So 1 year stayback option has been already announced. So you have got a choice and chance now to go to Malaysia, study at world's for top 500 ranking universities, look at the course, work part time while studying, and still have 1 year stayback option for you to look for the job. The best courses in these two countries, you ask? Well, I would suggest that Singapore and Malaysia, they have got the different varieties of programs to offer you, but the technology programs in Malaysia are really, really famous. Anything related to engineering and IT, designing, these are the major sector in which the universities are offering the programs, and quite famous. among the international students. Singapore has also got the similar sorts of choices of the courses which would be available. But as I said, Singapore doesn't allow you to work part time. Neither stay back option is available, and this country is super expensive. It's just like living in Europe or living in Singapore. It's equally expensive. Hence, I would suggest that you choose Malaysia over Singapore because of the living standard, which is quite reasonable. It's just like living in Bombay or Delhi, and housing is not an issue. Fees is less. University is a top ranking, and it makes a lot of sense by having stay back options now available for international students. Next question is, which is the best country in terms of safety? Okay, well, very difficult to announce one country or two countries in terms of safety. Again, I'm not trying to be diplomatic, but I'm trying the fact that the safety lies in your hand. If you do not challenge the odd hours, if you do not go into the bars or remote areas during the odd hours whereby people are drunk in abroad, usually they drink every evening or over the weekends, and then there is no difference between what is good or bad, and then they have lost their senses. You do not want to challenge yourself by attempting those situations. Otherwise, largely all these countries are very safe, at least much 100 times safer than India, where if you pick up the newspaper every day, you have got the challenging situation to face, but in abroad it's not. But still, to give you the perspective to the answer, I would suggest that look at the countries like New Zealand. It has been always ranked among the top three safest countries or top five safest countries to live, or top five countries safe for visitors or tourists. So New Zealand, Hungary, Switzerland, Germany, parts of Germany, parts of US, and Ireland. Ireland is the I would rank them among top three safest countries out of my and my students' experiences. So Ireland has also been ranked consistently among the top 10 friendliest nation in Europe. So hence you would have very easy time into these countries. Malaysia is also Malaysia and Dubai is also very safe because they have got very strict laws. So I'm sure that you will find these countries as the safest haven to study and live. Next is, what are the job opportunities after completion of my course? I mean, without a context of a country you are asking. So, well, it's always suggested. This would be the last question. I'm sorry if I'm not able to take other questions, just to respect the timing. So, well, in general, to speak, uh, you always choose the country which has got the option of offering you a stay back option, so that you have got enough job to find yourself a suitable job, once you enough time to find a suitable job after completion of course. So all the countries except Singapore and except Switzerland would offer you the stay back option. So that's one criteria you can look at. Second thing is that you also have the right choice of a university location, because if you go to the college which is very remotely located, you may not have those many industries around the university, around that city, and you will always have to travel for 2 to 3 hours to the nearest city or nearest big city to look for a part-time or full-time job, and that may not be the feasible option as an international student. So not only you select the right college in a right country, but also look at the location. If that is your prime criteria, that I am looking for a part-time job instantly after going there because I want to support my living expenses, or if you are looking for more interactive experience while studying as a student with the industries, so you would always do the research that this university location, is it surrounded by industrial area, or I've got the proximity to travel to the industries to look at for the option. So stay back is the first thing. Second is the location of the university. And third is look at the university track record for their employment ratio. I would suggest that you look at the QS ranking website, wherein QS ranks the website for overall ranking, subject wise ranking, and also their employment ranking. So that could also be a good factor to look into it, that what's the ranking of this university from employment point of view. Most of the students, they look at the university ranking just as an overall ranking. That could be very misleading. If any university ranks say among top 100 in the world, as an overall university ranking, there could be multiple factors contributing for this kind of ranking. It could be there majorly it could be there because of their research work, the patent filed, the kind of faculties they employ and their qualification. These are the major factors. Now these major factors, honestly speaking, for bachelor's and master going student, it doesn't really matter much, because you're not sure that you're going to go for a PhD course or research work, and how that university's research is going to help you in getting your job, right? So that overall ranking may not be relevant to you. In that case, look at the employment ranking. That is a reflection of universities' acceptance of their students in the job market, and that tells you indirectly that whether these students who are graduating from this university are job ready or they're just degree ready. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the reason I put yourself into this situation. Do overall research. Again, employment ranking is not should be the only criteria, but yes, could be one of the important criteria for you. Also look at the subject wise ranking of that university for which you're going. Maybe that university overall rank among top 100, but for your subject it may rank say 300. So what is more important, overall ranking for you or subject wise ranking where you're going? In my opinion, you should look at the subject wise ranking. So these are the few ways through which you can filter out the universities which are more relevant to you, and in that way you create your higher chances to be absorbed into the job market of that particular country. A bonus tip I can give you is that also, apart from just depending on the university support or the country government rules and regulation, be self-dependent. And this is not easy to be, because it's easy to say that okay, I did not get a job because of this university or this country or this city. It's also about you. What are you doing? I mean, when you're spending 1 2 3 years of your life in that country, how come you have not developed the enough connection for your own self to find a job for yourself? So it's not that you're just blaming the country or university and not doing anything on your own. What I suggest, learn about the networking, improve your personality, better your communication skills, develop the very appealing LinkedIn profile, learn about their culture so that you get easily accepted by these foreigners and in their foreign environment. Learn about how to make a appealing and attractive resume. These are also the ways and means through which you prepare yourself, and rather than just depending on somebody, you also put your equal efforts to be employable. Okay, so these are the few things which would definitely make your study abroad journey worthwhile, and your father's hard or parents hard earned money to put it into a right direction. I hope that this helps you to find your right solution. If not, then you are welcome to connect any of our offices and get more information at alif.in. I will see you next Saturday. Until then, take care of yourself. Bye bye.